Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whim, bringing you another grocery haul today. Got some different things and a lot of the same things, so let's go ahead and jump right in. First up, we have some coffee filters, because kind of hard to have coffee without some filters. And then I have sourdough bread, and if you watch me enough, you probably know that sourdough bread means steak sandwiches. It's one of our favorite meals. It's a little pricey, but it's good to have once in a while, right? Next up, we have some cinnamon sugar donuts for my guy to have and eat at breakfast time when I don't make him bacon. I told him that bacon is exclusively a weekend thing. He's gonna be home for a little bit, so I had to make sure there were like extra, like not bacon breakfast things. Next up, though, we have some Newtons. Not Fig Newtons, just Newtons. I personally love the Fig Newtons, but my guy doesn't like fig as a flavor, I guess. And it's kind of funny to me that, like, in my head, they're just called Fig Newtons, but these ones are Newtons strawberry. The little things that I clue in on. Next up, we have mini apple pies. This is going to be a fun thing to add to the lunch for my guy. And following that, let's see here, we have some quinoa. So this is one of many new things I'm going to try to add in to my diet. I think I've tried quinoa to cook it myself once before, but that was a while ago. But basically, I have decided that I am completely going off the low carb diet. I've been doing that forever and ever, and it just obviously wasn't sustainable for me. And so instead of doing like a real diet, I'm trying to make some lifestyle changes. So less refined sugars and flours, refined anything. So I'm trying to eat more whole foods. And I'm also going to try to eat less meat. Because, for a long time when I was doing low carb, it was like just eat nothing but meat all the time. And I don't know. I mean, it kind of worked in short bits, but it wasn't great overall. And so I'm ready to try something new. I'm basically trying to be fiber fueled. There's a book of the same title, Fiber Fueled. It promotes a vegan lifestyle, which is a bit too much for me. But there were a lot of good takeaways when I read that. So I'm just going to try to eat healthier in a different way. But not healthy is some snack packs. This is a pudding in a cup for my guy. Trying to make sure his lunches have a good amount of variety, at least in the dessert department. When it comes to vegetables, he pretty much would just eat carrots every day and be fine with it. So I've stopped trying to change that. Although sometimes I sneak some celery in there. But anyways, next up we have some croutons, because we're going to be eating lots of salads. This is also for salads, crispy jalapeno bits. I actually use these on a lot of things, actually. There's salads, of course. Sometimes some extra crunch on tacos. I'll put it on top of chili. Anything that needs a little extra pop or crunch, or it's really good all around topping, I think. Also for our salads are some dried cranberries. I love the contrast because I'll put the jalapenos on there and the cranberries, and sort of that spicy sweet that you get in some of the bites, because sometimes you'll only get a cranberry or only the spicy thing, and yeah, I kind of like that. So it's my go-to salad combo, I think. Anyways, we have some taco seasoning mix because it seems like I make tacos pretty much every month. We've got some bananas. It'll be for my breakfasts. Breakfast-I. I know that's not the plural, but I want it to be. And this banana does not want to go on its hook. There we are. And then finishing out this big old bag, we have a little bag of potatoes. And I picked one of the ones that have like all the different colors. So there's white potatoes and purple potatoes and red potatoes, or at least red-skinned potatoes. Kind of also part of this new lifestyle change is I'm trying to add in a more variety. You know, they say like when you're picking fruits and vegetables to get the whole rainbow, every color. So that's another side of what I'm doing. So that's why I picked up the colorful potatoes instead of just regular old white potatoes. They're kind of my standard go-to. Starting off our next bag, we have some Kool-Aid dippers. I assume these are just like Lick'em sticks, but it is Kool-Aid brand, and it was only like $1.50, $1.58 I think, for, what is this? 2 fruity flavors, 7 count. Odd that there'd be a 7 count when there's 2 flavors. That means one of the flavors there won't be as many of. But anyways, I thought it would be a fun little like pick-me-up. My guy's going through a bit of a rough time, and so I really wanted to make sure his lunches were extra fun. As if he's not already spoiled enough, but I love spoiling him, so what are you gonna do? Next up, we have some very contrasting flavors right here. We have some toothpaste, nice and minty, and we have some golden curry. And I told you guys last month about how I have now switched to using the mild curry, and I add in some hotness myself because then you get more flavor. So that's been kind of a fun addition, and curry is just such an easy go-to meal. I've cut, into a bell pepper and I had like, a handful left over, throw it in a curry. Same with onions and peas and just about anything. Any vegetable can go into a curry and be fine there, so I think that's why I like it so much. Next up, we have some jalapeno pieces. These are like, kind of like a pretzel, except for it's just little broken bits of hard bread thing. I don't know how else to describe it. It's pretzel, but not shaped like pretzels. And it's sad to me that these are so dense. Like that's their selling feature. You kind of want them to be dense, but I actually enjoy the flavor of these ones a lot because it's a sourdough pretzel with jalapeno, and I don't know, it feels like cheesy too. But my guy will get to eat the majority of those because still working on the whole teeth situation. Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better every day. In fact, sometimes I'll catch myself in the mirror like, oh, look at that. I didn't know my tooth could look like that, because like as they move into position, they start to look like they're the right size too. I didn't think that would happen. Like if you go back and look at my videos from like 2 years ago, my front teeth are like huge. They're like rabbit teeth. And I thought that they were just big teeth, right? No, it was the angle that made them look so big. How crazy is that? And I guess the next thing he's going to try to change is that I didn't realize it, but my 2 front teeth aren't centered in the front of my mouth. So he's going to like drag them away from you, the off center, and I don't know how exactly that works. It's weird to me. It's weird that it's happening. But anyways, we've got some long grain rice. I have a confession. I much prefer to use minute rice, and I wanted to buy it, but part of the whole idea of this whole food, you know, less processed thing is, you know, you shouldn't eat less processed things. And that includes instant rice. So I've got some long grain white rice, and then I figured I got a smaller bag of brown rice. It's been a while since I've tried brown rice. I just remember it being not as satisfying, but I've been making little changes already, and I think I'm grown up enough now to appreciate some of the healthier foods. Next up, let's see here. We've got some hairbrushes. Dun, dun, dun. Probably could use a brushing right now, actually. Yep, I can feel the little knots coming already. That happens every time I let my hair fall down, though. But anyways, I've been swimming a lot. That's been my exercise of choice. And the little brush that I kept in my purse is now being kept in my swim bag. But I need a little brush for my purse. And truth be told, I probably should replace my bathroom brush too. So this was the choice I made, I guess. It's only $4 for both of the brushes, so might as well get both is kind of my train of thought there. Next up, we have, I think they called this 13 beans. It's just a bin item, and it has like, looks like kidney beans and peas and lima beans, black-eyed beans. And beans are just fabulous for, you know, fiber and protein. And I've actually, because I have an Instapot now, so I can cook up beans relatively quickly. I don't have to soak them overnight, which is just fabulous. And I had these small red beans. I got this on an in-between trip. And I only used half a bag, just 8 ounces worth. And it made a huge thing of beans. And I actually made a refried bean out of red beans instead of like pinto beans, because these were like a little less calorie dense, and it was really good. I was surprised. And the way I did it in a healthy way. There wasn't really any frying involved. But they tasted close to right. I mean, if you're a refried bean aficionado, then you probably wouldn't like it as much, but it worked for my purposes, so there you go. Next up, we have some lime juice. I've been using our soda stream to make seltzer water and then flavoring it with whatever I have on hand. And I tried some lime juice like this last month. And it is my preferred way to flavor the seltzer water now. I just wish I could get like a version of this that's orange, because I don't want to throw orange juice in there because that's just sugar. Whereas this tastes more like lime than it does like sweet, if that makes any sense, more tart. So when I really want an orange flavored one, I'll actually sit there and squeeze an orange and shave off part of the peel, because the real like essence of orange flavor that you can get in a lot of drinks are actually based off of the essential oils in the peel more than the juice itself, or maybe equal parts juice and peel. So that's how you get more orange flavor without as much sugar, if you eat the little bits of peel. Next up, we have some good old green beans. I just got one little can of them for right now, because when I have time to go over to Sam's Club, I'm going to get the big old case of the name brand one. But I just didn't need to do both stores in one day today. This'll get us through for quite a bit, because I've been doing a lot more in-between shopping trips. We've started actually utilizing a joint bank account. And we've been together forever, my guy and I, but we just didn't have one. We liked being independent. But I have found now that we have that, you know, and obviously I grocery shop from it, I do a lot more of the little tiny trips. And I'm not sure if that's really cost effective overall. It's still a new thing, but I kind of enjoy that extra bit of freedom. So I've been getting lots of produce because that's been my thing lately. Anyways, this thing that I'm been holding on to for a little while here is some salt and pepper flavored almonds. It's another salad topping, and I don't know. I've never had salt and pepper sliced almonds before, but it sounds like something that would go with my cranberry jalapeno and Parmesan cheese mix that I already have instituted in my salads. And then following that, we have some tortillas that I'll fry up for tacos. And we have some pinto beans. I figured since I made the refried beans with the red beans, I was going to make a batch with pinto too to see if it's really like 100 times better or only just a little better. We'll see. We'll see. Exploring all the different legumes has been it's quite interesting. You know, there's so much variety. You got your lima beans and your great northern, your small red beans, your large red kidney beans, your pink kidney beans. There's pink ones. How weird is that? And of course, all the peas. You know, you have your standard green pea, but there's also like yellow peas and orange peas and lentils. So I'm going to have a lot of things to try to eat. Next up, though, we have some good old teriyaki sauce, garlic and green onion flavor. When I make chicken teriyaki, I'll add a little bit of Carolina Reaper pepper to this sauce. And it makes a very fabulous sweet and spicy kind of a sauce. You can do that with almost any pepper. I like the Carolina Reaper pepper because it's sort of just it's a dried one, and I can grind it, and I just put in the tiniest pinch and it'll dissolve into that whole like a whole pot of whatever I'm making and just make it so spicy. It's kind of like crazy how instantaneous it is. So I like that stuff. Now we're on to our cooler stuff. First up is some eggs. Last month I gave it a go and made my first ever frittata, and I enjoyed it actually quite a bit. I've made it 3 times last month, and you can kind of cook, you know, a regular batch and cut it up, and it reheats decent enough, and you know, it's got a bit of protein. The spinach was good. My last one I added red bell pepper on top of the spinach, and that was even better. So that's going to be my new permanent adjustment to that recipe, I think. So obviously with all those frittatas, I needed some more eggs. Yeah. And speaking of the egg dish, here is another giant thing of baby spinach. I got this size last month. And might I say, I am surprised. I was downright surprised on how long the spinach actually lasted. It stayed healthy enough for me to eat the entire bin. And it's almost exclusively a thing I eat. This isn't really, I don't really give him like spinach salads or anything like that. So I was surprised, and, you know, could always use more veggies in my diet, so spinach it is. Following that, we have some serrano peppers. It's been a while since I've cooked with serranos, but I'm doing the whole like try a million different fruits and vegetable things, so I'm gonna see how we can add that in, because, you know, we love our jalapenos. We eat plenty of those, but variety is the spice of life, right? And speaking of variety, this is some sprouts, but more specifically, broccoli sprouts. And I'm very curious on how they taste. I never liked bean sprouts. You know, those are the ones that I think are most common, and you get them on like Asian dishes and stuff. They've always just been kind of weird to me. Probably wasn't in the right frame of mind to enjoy something like that. Because, like, it took me a long time to appreciate tofu when I got it in Asian restaurants. But, anyways, on one of my in between trips where I was starting to do this whole try more vegetables things, I got some sprouts. But I got clover sprouts, same brand. And they're just a tiny box, so I didn't feel like it was a big commitment. And it's actually kind of enjoyable. Like, I kind of eat them almost like a snack because I don't really have potato chips or anything like that. And I can't really do anything super crunchy, but these have a bit of crunch to them, but are easy to chew. It's an interesting dynamic. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that you can make a sprout out of anything that grows, anything that sprouts. Obviously, some are going to be better than others, but I'm going to try all the ones that are available. I've tried clover already, broccoli's next, and then I think alfalfa is available. There were a couple other varieties. Maybe it says, I know there was a thing. Let's see here. I think it's on the inside of the lid. Here we are. Oh, this one doesn't say all the different ones they have. I think it's on, maybe it was on my other box. It had to have been. I know I saw a list of things, but anyways, there's going to be a lot of different little things to try. Following that, we have some fully grown broccoli instead of broccoli sprouts. And we have some radishes. I'm not really a big radish person, but I'm trying to eat my way through the rainbow. So I figured I would give these another shot. Maybe if I get them sliced up really thin, it might be good. Next up, we have our steak that will be turned into steak sandwiches. And we have some good old-fashioned butter, some raspberries, Mexican 4 cheese, and provolone cheese. Provolone is my cheese of choice for making steak sandwiches, although I've made it with a few others. I think just the smoky nature of provolone fits with it better, though. So the other new thing I have added in, trying to see if I can't make a healthy lifestyle switch that is, more sustainable than little diet. But anyways, the thing I've been adding in is some kombucha. It scared me. I had one on an in-between trip. I bought one. And that book I was telling you about, the Fiber Fueled, the author goes into great detail about how fermented foods are good for, your tummy and digestive stuff, because those are living things in there. And the whole concept kind of weirded me out. Like, fermented food weirds me out on some level. But I tried one, and I tried one that was hibiscus and ginger flavored. And the author kind of recommended thinning it down with water because they are very acidic. That's the word. They're acidic, and that's not great for your tooth enamel. And I'm really careful with my tooth enamel. And I enjoyed it, watered down. It's an odd kind of a drink, for sure. But when you water it down, something this size becomes like 4 drinks. So that was kind of nice. And what surprised me is how much of a kick I was really getting out of that. Because I started drinking it at lunchtime. I've been having less coffee, but sometimes in the afternoon, you get a little sleepy. And this kind of perks me right back up. So it's been a pretty good thing to add in they're a little expensive. It's like $3 a bottle. But can you put a price on mostly healthy pick-me-ups? So let's see here. This has black tea, green tea, kiwi juice, raspberry juice, lemon juice, fresh pressed ginger juice, and 100% love. And I got, that's one of the flavors. This one's called Trilogy. I didn't find the one that I had tried before, that hibiscus one. That one was really good. So I'm hoping these are on par. But this one's ginger berry flavor. And let's see here, which berries do they use? Blueberry and kiwi juice again. Interesting. I wonder what it is about kiwi juice. And then this one is called Sacred Life. Highfalutin names. They're kind of funny. And this one gets its color from blue spirulina. So that's a seaweed or an algae. I can't remember. It's a marine plant type thing. And I'm surprised on how blue it is, considering that's a natural colorant. It's kind of, this one will be fun. This might be the one that I tried today. And then last for this little bag is something that's not kombucha. And that is just some good old-fashioned half and half for our coffee. And then we have one more cooler bag to go. And it has some red bell peppers. Not one, but 2 things of Parmesan cheese again. Parmesan is like my jam. Because this is my cheese of choice for salads. And I've been putting it in my frittatas. And if I make like spaghetti, there's just... Parmesan's great. I love it. And following that, we have a cantaloupe. I'm hoping it'll be good. It's not really cantaloupe season. It's not melon season at all. But it's sort of hard to buy in-season stuff when it's like the end of winter, right? I did try a buttercup squash. There's butternut, but then there's also buttercup. I didn't know this. And squashes are an actual winter produce item. And I'm not sure how I feel about squash. It's kind of, even this one, like the buttercup was advertised as like less stringy than most squashes, and it was still a little stringy. So squash might not be my jam, but flavor-wise it was good. I put on this sort of habanero maple syrup, some olive oil, salt and pepper, and just roasted it in the oven. It was pretty easy to make. Although, goodness, if you've ever cut open a squash, I didn't know they did this, but if you cut open a raw squash and like touch it, the sap kind of like dries out your skin, and it makes like a weird film, and it feels like you've got like, I don't know, like overly chapped skin or something. It was very bizarre. I didn't know what was happening to me. I had to Google it. Next up, we have a cabbage that's kind of pointy. I thought that was kind of funny. But it looks like it's a good size. It's not a giant cabbage. I've run into the problem that I like cabbage, and there's no reason to not make like one whole cabbage at a time. Like, what are you going to do with half a cabbage? But then I have a lot of cabbage to eat. So it's good to see the small ones in the store right now, because I get overwhelmed by how many leftovers I make sometimes. I've gotten better at cooking for just us in that moment, like when I make white bean chili, and if I make it from the can, it makes exactly enough for both of us. Fun little aside though, I made it from a bag because it's cheaper to buy those big old bags, right, of beans. And I was like, okay, I'll cook up this bag and see what happens. It made so many beans. It was like, I think it ended up being like 7 servings of chili beans. And I was just like, whew. We're gonna be eating chili for a while. All right, anyways, last but not least, for our cooler items, we have some pepper bacon. We are now down to our freezer items. There aren't very many of them. I've been trying to get more fresh stuff, right? All the bell peppers and cantaloupe and whatnot. So there's a lot less freezer wise, but there is some. Our ever classic stir fry blends. This is the San Francisco blend. It has green beans, broccoli, onions, mushrooms, and red peppers. And then we have our Asian stir fry blend, which is very similar, but maybe a few more things. It has broccoli, carrots, onions, red peppers, celery, water chestnuts, and mushrooms. And we have the ever classic freezer bread. We haven't needed as much freezer bread now that I'm not doing low carb because I'll make rice and stuff, but there's still days where I cut something out to keep my portion size small, and I'll supplement with some bread for my wonderful guy. And then last but not least, I have two big old things of chicken breast. They're giant. And not much to say about them because they're chicken. But we go through so much chicken, I finally just doubled down and got two big packs to start with because I kept having to go back to the store and get chicken again. So hopefully I won't have to get more chicken for a little while. We'll see. And with that, we're now at the end of the video, which means it's shout out time for all my wonderful commenters. But before I do that, my question for this round of commenters would be, have I started to talk too fast? I have noticed that my pace has been picking up, and that might help with the natural flow, make it more conversational. But I worry that maybe it's not as relaxing. I try to, at the very least, at this end portion, to calm down and slow myself a bit. But I might need to do that more in the middle too. You guys let me know, because I have lots and lots of wonderful commenters. I'm sure you guys will give me your 2 cents, because you usually do. And I love it because it's almost always encouraging. You guys are fabulous. So let's shout out to Bone Crusher, Patricia Hawkins, and Hot Sauce 188. They were among many people who have left me lovely comments this past month. So thank you. And you keep me motivated to do all this. So I appreciate the positivity. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.